welcome back. This is FUBAR, and today we are on episode 2 of FUBAR'S Lounge podcast. Today with me is Scop3s. Go
Howdy
ahead and
do.
say hello, bud. So, right now we got an interesting topic for you guys. We're going to talk about our ideal setups and what we feel we need to do to complete these setups. Going first is going to be Scop3s, and then I'm going to take over and show you guys where I think I need to go with it and everything, and I'm going to be interacting with him throughout this. So please stay tuned. We're going to get right into the nitty-gritty right now. So, Scopes, let's see your current setup.
So my current setup, I think it's going to be the easiest way to show you, is currently the helicopter, the Howie, and the MB. But things are definitely changing very soon because we're about to go to a restricted level 2. So level 2? No, restricted. My first ever restricted, actually. So it's going to be exciting, not only for a new method, but of course a bit of a change to the system.
I think I started out hating restricted, but it's grown on me to the point where now I love it, and I actually want to stay in restricted until I'm ready for Legendary 1. What it's really doing for me is actually helping me develop my ideal setup through the reverse engineering process. So tell us about what would be your actual ideal setup. Like, what units would you run? What do you think you need? And what officers you need to complete that?
Yeah, so my honestly my genuine love for the howitzer means I definitely want to have either a double Howie, or maybe even if it's just a double Howie and an ATG, or at least one Howie, one ATG. So obviously right now I don't have an ATG at all. I definitely want to get one of them. But having a double Howie would be really, really nice. Um, Honestly, the helicopter at the moment, as probably most people know, is one of the meta units. The L might eventually take over very soon. So without chasing the meta, my dream setup is constantly changing as well. Not because of the meta, but just because of the fact that, as you said, infantry used to be not very good. Now infantry is, one of the best. And so at the start, I definitely didn't even remotely think about wanting an infantry. Now it's sitting there, in the back of my mind, clapping around saying, hey, pick B. And I'm really tempted to maybe go down that route as well. And the thing that has helped me a lot throughout this period of learning what I want, because at the end of the day, it is a learning game. You're not going to know everything straight away. But they've just released, obviously, the brand new Operation Hegemon, where you now can go and have these quick 1 hour battles, and within that, you're able to appoint your own units, which can be of any unit. You have every single unit unlocked, so this gives you an hour of just freedom to try. And obviously, you do technically still need to work with your team, but at the same time, you can try and use this hour to experiment and see, what your preferred units may be.
Yes, it's a great way of testing without actually having access to the test server, and this will actually benefit you because in this, your research, I believe, does apply, and also so does what's the correct term? Well, obviously you have to have your officers for that.
Correct.
But with this, do you actually have your officers in all ducks in a row for a second howitzer or ATG, or is there any you still need to unlock and awaken?
Yeah, so I mean, I can get another ATG. Again, I've actually just done some testing the other day, and currently, as you see, I have Lady Liberty. She's level 5 on her first skill, and then she's very weak on the rest, just 2, 3, 2. Extremely weak, but her level 5. Now, I don't know if you're gonna believe me here, but I done some testing, and her with I in this current state is better, more power against another base than Argent Flame, who is awakened, and I put together. So right now, I'm going to be running these two, which is obviously Liberty and I on my Howie. And then in the restricted, I'm probably going to get myself an ATG, and I'm going to run Agent Flame with Antonina on there. So I do have the available officers, and because obviously the trick using the gold to get officer statues, if I need to grab any spare officer like skills to do the training, or maybe even a whole new officer, I do have the statues available. So that's something I'm really looking forward to, being able to experiment with new units. But yeah, I do have I've managed to be lucky enough to get the officers to be available to do that. What about yourself? What's your next closest one you're working towards?
For me, the next thing I'm closest working towards is actually a Liberty howitzer. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm in the process of doing this experiment. But the great thing about this experiment is that, and I'm going to be doing a separate video on this experiment, guys. So I'm going to refer to it as the experiment, but you can look forward to the video. It's going to be titled, Am I Crazy? Okay. So, because some people think I'm crazy doing this, and some people think I'm not. But I'm doing it for you guys, and it also is going to benefit myself. But I'm working towards the Liberty Howitzer because I want to have that camp buff. I already have a Martyr Howitzer, but that extra oomph just from the camp buff will be very beneficial to me. For me, I need to also get a Liberty MBT and then two Liberty Air Force, which I'm still on the fence of either two Liberty fighters, because I already have a Vanguard fighter, or a Liberty fighter and a Liberty bomber, which my account is more so set up currently as a field fighting support. And when I say field fighting support, that obviously includes base defense. So that means I'm running a Liberty Heli, Liberty Infantry, and then I'm going to have a Liberty MBT, Liberty Howitzer, and then an ATG Vanguard fighter, and then the two Liberty Air Force once I make up my mind on that. So what my biggest weakness is right now is I actually got to finish up my tech for both infantry and artillery. I'm working on that right now, and I need parts. I need, like everyone else, I need parts, and it's so hard to find that gold plus parts. So I've been looking for gold plus, trying to get perfect and everything like that. But I also need officers, and right now my biggest weakness for officers is actually I need to awaken Everbloom, Lonesome Star, and I need to awaken Argent Flame and Maestro and Whipcracker for my complete setup.
Yeah.
And now, the reason why I want to do Whipcracker, a lot of people are going to be asking me why. It's for my MBT. I'm going to pair her with Guardian of Truth for that sweet damage resist of automatically 50% before you even apply skill tabs or the camp buff. And also, Argent Flame and Maestro are going to go on to my ATG. And obviously, Everbloom and Lonesome Star, they're going to go on my infantry. But as a support, I want you guys to understand what my role is as a support is when I'm field fighting and once my units die, when it's being retrained, I'm actually swapping officers to a defensive setup, and then I'm using my Air Force. And once the ground units are retrained, I reswap officers and go back with them, and then I pull my Air Force back. That way I can micromanage my units flawlessly, and I'm still being able to help my team. So that is where I'm at currently. And is there anything else that you would possibly run for a second setup, Scopes? Like anything that will intrigue your mind?
So for me, I think I've always loved the thought of having two helis, two howies, and an ATG. For me, it sounds like the perfect all-rounder for just pure annihilation. Because obviously, as you know, helis just, if a vehicle tries tanking your base, it ain't gonna be there. You've got 2 helis and an ATG. Even if a infantry tries tanking you, now of course, if you're talking like a 60 mil maxed out infantry, nothing. You could have 5 rocket launchers. That thing's still gonna tank your base enough before the rest of the rally comes and kills you. But we're talking about in moderation. I feel like it's just gonna be that perfect sweet spot where you can absolutely just be offensive and defensive. In just one segment. You don't have to do that, as you said about, you mentioned you're going to be changing from offense to defense. I feel like within that setup, you kind of have everything there and available. The only other thing I would change maybe is, say, 1 helicopter and have an infantry with it, because, infantry are definitely making a upcome. I was in during that Operation Hegemon today. My exact setup was having the ATG, 2 Howies, a heli, and an infantry, and it worked absolutely beautiful. For me, infantry aren't great at defense, but of course, just soaking up all of that damage is absolutely amazing, and it really does help. Even, believe it or not, if someone's attacking you and you just put your infantry out, I don't know if it's just second nature, but whenever someone brings a unit out, they stop attacking your base. They start attacking the unit. I mean, I do it. If someone's attacking me, or if I'm attacking someone and they pull their unit out, I stop attacking the base and I start attacking the unit. It's just second nature to start attacking the units, get the kills, lower the amount of troops that are then going to be attacking you. But if you pull out an infantry, you're not losing any of that. If that infantry starts to lose people, like lose its units, you're no longer, you're not going to be losing any of that offensive power that's sat in your base, because it's not like if you bring your heli out and your heli starts getting taken down, that's a very strong unit that's going to repel against the attack. But an infantry doesn't. It's just there to soak up all the bullets and distract them from injuring your base, which then gives you more defense in the long run, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. That's why I run an infantry. I use a Liberty infantry, and it's for the smoke screen, because the smoke screen actually works on base defense. Now, when I said I swapped to defensive, a defensive officer repairing, for my infantry, I actually put on Tip of Spear, and I want to have Awakened Vox. So that way her 40% base damage resist is constantly popped, and that was going to actually benefit everyone in the base. And with the smoke screen going out, that's going to be stun locking in the load time on an artillery possibly, or unit. And then I got Argent Flame and Maestro, who are going to be the permanent setup on my ATG that will be doing all that AoE damage. Now, I do completely agree with you that infantry are so good at, when you pop them out of base and go targeting the other unit. But the problem is if they're moving and they are able to flick to your infantry, that's when it's a big problem, because that's when they're the squishiest. I mean, because I've been in that situation before. What infantry were you actually using in Hegemon, though?
I was using Liberty.
They friggin' are. Liberty is my favorite, hands down my favorite. However, the big downside to Liberty infantry is that when they're out in the field and you're fighting with them, they only provide one extra little buff to the nearby units, which is a damage resist, and I think it's like 3%. And it would be so much more. That's why I want to have Everbloom and Lonesome Star, so that way I can actually, provide more to my team in a mixed rally. Because if you look at Everbloom's, I think it's her 4th skill, you'll see that she actually buffs your allied troops, and I think it's right around the same for Lone Star. It's either his Awakened skill or is it right around his 4th skill, and that would be a big difference. Even if it's a little bit, it'll be a big difference on the battlefield. What I do want to possibly do in the future is develop a second Liberty howitzer just to swap out, if I need to, and a light tank to trade out with my helicopter. That would be, I think, a smart move on my part, just so I have ultimate flexibility with my setup.
That is exactly what I originally planned to do with the prototype pieces. Not here. Where is it? So if we go to the reverse assembly, I've just made a 7.2 light tank so that I could switch between the two. So like, let's just say, because I'm a base to base player, you know, a berserker. I prefer to take my units up close to people and just have that one-on-one battle, or just, you know, put myself in a situation where they've got to attack me. I can play defensive, and you know, and then be offensive straight away after. Because at the end of the day, the way I see it is offense is the best defense. You know, because sure, you can sit there, be defensive, and eventually, like, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be the strongest account on the game. Everyone is killable. So it doesn't matter how long I sit there, I will die. So I can't play defensive. At some point, I've got to be offensive, because, as I said, offense is the best defense. If you kill the other people, ain't no one to kill you back. So that's the best way I see it in my eyes. So I try and be, you know, as offensive as possible, but while, you know, limiting my loss. So if, when that inevitable time comes and I do die, I want to be able to then have, you know, the helicopters and the light tanks, you know, maybe even the, you know, the MBs, to be able to then go and have them field fights afterwards. I can make a rally, get my team in, and we can go on for a battle after my base has been, you know, destroyed.
Yeah, no, that I think a lot of people in the Warpath community and will actually agree with you on that. Like, you want to be offensive as much as possible. But for me, I just am horrible. And I'm going to say this on my own behalf. FUBAR is the worst base to base player in the game. I will say that. I will say that, and I will own it. I will own it. So instead of me trying to base the player, my strategy is to wipe out their troops while they're trying to base me, then go on the offensive. That's the only way I've been able to do it effectively for me, because fat fingers, fat thumbs, and also I play on a phone, so I can't necessarily be on the fly with that. And even when I get a PC eventually, it will still have a learning curve for me.
For sure.
But I think we're gonna wrap that up here, guys. I really enjoy. If you guys really enjoyed this podcast, let us know in the comment section below. Also, Scope's link is going to be in the description below. So please like, comment, and subscribe to both of us. And also, we have in the two amazing Discords, we have Warpath Lounge and FUBAR'S Lounge. All right, so check those out in the links below as well. We got your 6. Peace.
See you later.